Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the E-commerce Revolution podcast. Great to have everybody here. We are live today. This is episode 23, and we're just going to keep growing from here. We are live on LinkedIn. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. Eventually, we're going to get Twitter in the mix as well, and then we'll have replays available for everybody on all of these channels, as well as audio that will be released to the podcast networks like Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and you name it. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm your host. My name is Ramin. I am one of the managing partners here at SKU Agency, and it is great to have everybody here. So let's get things started. All right, that music always gets me going, so hopefully it does the same thing for you as well. Today's episode is going to be a great one. We have talked about this topic before, but it is a topic that is very important to our world, our agency. It is SMS marketing, okay? And SMS marketing is growing. And today we're specifically honing in on how to use SMS marketing to skyrocket your e-commerce sales. Did you know that 58% of consumers already believe that SMS is the most effective way for a brand to communicate with them? So 58% of consumers are already on board with SMS marketing. So that number is just going to keep going up. So if you've been thinking about using SMS marketing, but have been on the fence about it, hopefully this episode is going to help answer those burning questions that you have about SMS, and it will help you take action and get off that fence and start utilizing SMS because it is an amazing, amazing tool. Today's guest, and as you know, we have a guest each and every week because we like to talk to people who are very, very smart. And today's guest is a self-proclaimed e-commerce nerd. We haven't had anybody on the show that has considered themselves a self-proclaimed e-commerce nerd, which is great because we can all geek out on e-commerce today. I consider myself one. I've never actually called myself one, but I love it. And hopefully our guest will welcome me into his club, and we can just talk about all things e-commerce. So he's also not only an e-commerce nerd, but he's also quite an entrepreneur. So get this, at age 10, he started selling Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, on eBay. He eventually grew that business, get this, big enough to nail an entrepreneurship scholarship to NYU. Oh my God. Like who does that? Who is thinking at age 10? I mean, that is amazing. I want my son, both of my sons and my daughter, to be watching this episode once we do the replay to hear about that portion because that's awesome. He's now the head of partnerships at Recart, and is also one of the leading SMS marketing platforms in the e-commerce space. And get this, before we introduce him, he just got back from a safari in Kenya. So we'll have to dive in a little bit more on that, figure out what is going on there. I have never been on a safari. I don't know how many of you have been on safaris. So without any further ado, please welcome Nick Romaya to the E-commerce Revolution podcast. Nick, awesome to see you. You survived a safari in Kenya. Tell us, just let's go there right away. I want to hear about the safari.
Amazing intro, by the way. Thank you. I'm blushing. Yes, the safari in Kenya it's no doubt has to be on your bucket list. Every single person listening, I cannot explain it. I mean, odds are you probably watched Lion King. And the crazy thing is that's not just Disney being Disney. That place actually exists. It's in Africa. It's in Kenya.
So that's the place you went. That's the actual place you went.
Mind blowing. Well, there's no Pride Rock. That's a little bit.
Okay, got it. Okay, all right.
But just the fact that there's these plains and grasslands and all these animals harmoniously living together, and it's just bizarre to see. We go to these zoos and we see them all caged up, and it's fine because maybe they're rehabilitating or they're doing some kind of research for them, or at the end of the day, they're still in a cage. It's just something is different. Yeah, there you go. That's literally what it is. I mean, you're in a truck and there's just
unbelievable. Crazy. I mean, they're that close, right? The giraffe is that close.
It's right up to the lion was on the other side of a car, and I just put my head out. And I made eye contact with them. You're like 5 feet away from each other. I saw a cheetah chase. the wildebeest migration. I mean, there's no really way to put into words. You have to do it, and it's pretty cheap as well.
Oh, wow.
Honestly,
Okay.
pretty much the flight is your biggest ding, but
Hmm.
you know the stay and the people are just so beautiful and nice. We went to some of the local villages, and you kind of have like brunches like that. I don't know that
Oh,
picture. It's
wow.
they set up
Yeah.
like you're just in the park and they just set up like your breakfast there.
That's
It's
that is so I
magical. Yeah,
I know we're here to talk about SMS, but I feel like maybe we should divert and just talk about safaris. I mean, this is,
yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, so many people have not gone on a safari and maybe have it on their bucket list. I will say it's not been on my bucket list, but when you show me pictures like that and you come back that enthusiastic about it, I'm changing my opinion about this. And yeah, there
oh
is
yeah,
something about being that close to raw nature, to these animals that are just amazing. And we see them in movies, and we see them pictures on the internet, but to be that close, that's amazing. Well, I'm glad you got a chance to do that, so thanks for
thank you.
sharing. I appreciate that. uh
Yeah,
let's we're obviously here to talk SMS marketing, because we have a mutual fascination and admiration for what SMS marketing can do for businesses. But before we do that, let's just also touch on that other side of things, your entrepreneurial
mhm,
journey that started at age 10. Okay, selling
mhm.
those cards on eBay. And did I pronounce it correctly? I think I did. You
Yes,
gave me a prep
yeah.
ahead of time, but I
You
want
did
to
a
make
great
sure I
job.
got it right. Tell me what lessons did you take away from that time? I mean, I know you were 10 and then leading up to
Yeah.
college, but there must be things that you look back on that have stuck with you to this day.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So, my parents never worked for anyone growing
Mm,
up, so I'd always gotten like inspiration from that. So I almost
okay.
thought like starting your own thing online was like normal, like everyone else was doing it too, kind
Mhm.
of deal, because of the inspiration from my parents. But I quickly learned that I was a little bit, unique on that sense, at least for
Mhm.
my age group. And
Yes.
it was just awesome because I was very passionate about those cards. So
Mm,
it didn't really seem like work. And I know everyone says this, but it's like if you're very passionate about something, like you actually like
yes.
truly don't work a day in your life. So I didn't really think of it as work. I thought of it
Mhm.
as like purely enjoyment, fun. And obviously that taught me a lot of what I am today. I would
Right.
go around with these cards. Yeah, it wasn't just online. I would also go in person to
Mm,
build up my collection and
mhm.
kind of like opening the trench coat and saying like, what do you want? Like holding my
Right,
hand
right.
and that taught me how to approach people, sales skills, negotiation skills,
Wow.
thinking outside the box, and a lot of strategy, approaching people. And those are just invaluable things to get ingrained into you at an early
Mhm.
age. I didn't really realize that, and that's kind of why I was like, oh well, wow, how can I talk to people so easily? And
Mm,
really, I attested to that. If it wasn't for that experience, because I consider myself somewhat introverted, but that really like allowed me to I don't know, be confident with people, express, and also sell ultimately. Know how
right.
to move the needle, right? And make
Yeah.
favorable trades as much as
Yeah,
possible.
yeah. No, and
Um,
if anybody ever has an opportunity to talk to Nick, one of the nicest people I know in the industry, and I honestly mean that. Two, great negotiator, because you find common ground and you make it work for both sides. So clearly,
yeah,
even at a young age, you took away important information that we can all use in business, right? That's something. And the passion side, yeah, I'm with you. I've passionate about e-commerce, and I don't look at it as work. I've never looked at it as work. I've looked at it as, in fact, so much so that I probably do it on the weekends, and it's not good for, I need to take a little break every now and then. So that's awesome. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. That's a great story, and to get yourself to NYU. And we're going to circle back to NYU in just a moment, once we get through some really good questions here on SMS marketing. So we mentioned Recart, and we'll talk about Recart in a bit. But for those of people who are on the fence, maybe even hearing about SMS marketing for the first time, maybe they've heard it, but they don't really know the details of it, and primarily use maybe email marketing for their e-commerce business. Just tell us how the
yeah.
two differ. I mean, the obvious is one is coming on in the text format, and one's coming in email. But how else
Mhm.
do they differ?
Yeah. So, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Those are like kind of like the main. That's just the main difference, right? And it is an own channel, right? So there's a lot of similarities.
Right.
But ultimately, let's keep building on that. It's the open rates. That's the biggest thing.
Mm.
So you associate your text message pre-built messages app, which is pre-installed on all Samsungs and iPhones. Um, and you get a ping there. You associate that with a friend or family messaging you. I'm not sure what the case will be like 10 years from now, maybe as more people get more and more into SMS marketing, but it's kind of
Right.
like initially when email was getting off. Everyone like really checked their emails and open rates, and
Right.
then it kind of got oversaturated with spam and things like that.
Hmm.
And email's been around for 20 years. That's why the max open rate you can see is maybe 30% if you're lucky, 20% if you're lucky. Um, but it's law of large numbers. You have an email list of 100,000, 20K people are
Right.
going to open it if you're lucky. If you have an email list of 100,000, SMS list of 100,000, you're going to get 90K to 95,000 open rates.
Wow.
Even pushing that number sometimes, almost close to
Wow.
100.
Yes.
So, yeah, let's do the math there. If you have conversion right on a certain number of people, you have an expected conversion of
Hmm.
5-6% on those links. You're going to get a lot more sales if you're in e-commerce. You're going to get a lot more eyeballs, and that's going to lead to
Hmm.
sales. So fundamentally, open rates is really just what drives it.
Right.
It's a
Right.
powerful channel, and it's not going away anytime soon, especially because it's
Mm.
pre-installed. And even one of those like ones that people put at the bottom,
Hmm.
they're made
Yeah.
for apps that they click. So it's easy access, banner notifications. I'm sure a lot of people don't have banner notifications for their general email, so it
Hmm.
almost kind of acts like a very strong push. Um, and ultimately that's just the beginning. We can get a
Hmm.
little bit more into a lot of
Sure.
the differences, but
Well,
um,
well, where does it excel? Where does SML excel over email marketing? So if I'm doing email marketing already, and you're telling me that SMS has these incredible open rates, and it's a newer platform, what specific areas does it excel? Where email you just can't do it. Email can't
yeah,
perform.
so email is fantastic for content and for
Hmm.
kind of saying like, hey, we're this company, here's our content, and you're almost like conditioned to get like that daily update or weekly
Mm,
update from the company you're
right.
subscribed to. And I'm sure everyone when they're scrolling through their email, it's like, okay, I can leave that unread. I can leave that unread. Okay, I'm gonna open this one. Right?
Right.
You're trying to find that
Sure.
header.
Right.
For SMS, it's a lot more personable. So when I
Hmm.
get that message, it could be something like a piece of that email, maybe, but
Hmm.
you're really highlighting that and accentuating that in a personal space. The
Hmm.
customer is going to absorb that information more, and then you
Hmm.
can sequence that. So hey, like I'm going to
Right.
give them this chunk, and I know they're going to open it in this personal space. Let's ask them maybe a couple questions, and we can create that two-way street, a personal two-way street between you and that customer. You can text them back,
Hmm.
ask them triggers. Let's just say they come on a website and they're on a certain product, and
Right.
they abandon the cart, and we know that this product is, if we ask them a question like, hey,
Hmm.
do you want to learn more about this product, maybe it was handmade, and we ask them that question, we know that 90% of the time that customer is actually going to like reply and then
Mm.
also purchase. Maybe we have a few use
Right.
cases that we're asking the question about like, hey, do you want to learn more about this product?
Yeah.
Reply y to yes. That
Hmm.
response comes in. You're educating the customer. You're having a two-way connection. Your brand is at the forefront of their mind. Yeah, I can keep. We can
Yeah,
keep
no, I
going.
mean, it's interesting, and that's a very good point to remember. But I think that at the end of the day, brands, brands have been sending out emails for a long time. A lot of times, this is not encouraged to send it out with an email address that somebody can't reply to. But consumers don't. It's not really ingrained to reply necessarily when they get these, full blown, as opposed to SMS. That you're used to that back and forth already with your friends and families. You said that's you're naturally doing that. So if a brand asks you a question, well, of course, you're probably going to answer. And then what's going to happen? You're going to get friendlier with that brand, and that brand is going to get friendlier with you. And as you said, it get ingrained in your head and ingrained in your mind and into your buying process. And that's a really powerful component of SMS marketing that you're pointing out. And I love that. I love that. And if I'm a brand, I hear this and I say, okay, all right, I'm getting close here, on SMS. I like what I'm hearing. What factors, should a brand take into consideration before actually jumping into SMS marketing?
Yeah. So first of all, and again, I do want to say we love email. Email is great.
Yeah.
Like have that first. That's one of the main things, and that
Yep.
also gives your brand and keep doing that. I'm not saying hijacking email.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be clear with everyone. This is
Right.
another channel you got to add on for retention marketing, because
Mm-hmm.
we all know everyone coming to your website is not purchasing. So retain them
Right.
in that percent, right? So I just want to be clear there. We do love email.
Yeah, as the book goes, email is not dead, right?
Yeah, email
Yes.
email is definitely not dead.
Yeah.
So to prepare, definitely have email.
Mm-hmm.
Get used to what it means to have an owned channel.
Okay.
That welcome series, the introduction to your brand, the subsequent campaigns, abandoned carts, fulfillment notification. Understand that a bit, because understanding that, first of all, is very important if you're e-commerce brand owner or entrepreneur or marketer in the space. And second of all, you can apply a lot of those principles to your new channel and
Right.
newer channels in the future as well. SMS is just the tip of the iceberg, and email, honestly. There's a lot of buzz going on. We can go to this later a little bit. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Apple Business Chat, WhatsApp,
Yeah.
Instagram. So there's going to be a slew of other owned channels, push notifications as well with apps. And so starting somewhere with some kind of owned channel, and that's most likely going to be email, is my biggest recommendation. Understanding how that works.
So
and then,
how would a brand, this question comes up actually a lot. Should I send an email and an SMS to a customer? Should I send, if it's a flow, if it's a welcome flow, should I be sending both? And if so, should I be tracking which one they're opening? Maybe stop sending them the other one, or should I always, complement? Essentially, if email takes the lead right now, still, I'm really complementing my email marketing efforts with SMS marketing as well. What's that approach? I mean, do customers get annoyed that they get an email and an SMS message from the same brand?
Yeah, this is a fantastic question, and one I am often asked. And to be honest, there is no perfect answer. It does vary brand to brand, but we can set some general rules of thumb. And that is, email is the backbone of marketing still. Keep your content and a lot of your messaging generally about your company, because at the end of the day, you can write as much as you want on that email, right? Text, you're limited to 160 characters. If you go over that, that's 2 texts. It's twice as expensive. You go over that again, it's very easy to keep going. So keep your email strategy strong and kind of keep that going. We can do a lot of segmentation, but for the most part, a lot of our customers and a lot of what I see is keeping your pre-existing email strategy and flow in line is pretty key. Build your SMS around maybe your content calendar that you're going to do on email, and also use SMS to take little stabs. Figure out okay, how's my customer going to react to this? We know how they're going to react to email. We have a lot of data. But hey, why don't we send out this email blast and this SMS at the same day, the same sale? Maybe because remember the open rates are different. So if we have, it's almost like 2 separate channels, but there's going to be some overlap where some people are opening both, right? And that's kind of not the best experience, or it could be viewed, depending on your product and your return customer rate, as something that almost invigorates them. Be like, okay, I've gotten 2 doses of this sale or of this product launch. Now I'm going to go buy. I just needed 2 hits over the head to get me there.
Right.
I think this is 2 times as annoying.
Right. Well, isn't it? I mean, we know that stat that lives out there about SMS, being, I think, what is it, 3 minutes? The average open, open time, right? Open rate is, people are opening their messages about 3, and email is a couple of hours, I believe. That's a number
Mhm.
that I've heard out there. So, especially like, let's talk about like back in stock. Back in
Mhm.
stock flow goes out there. That email may not be looked at for a couple of hours, but that SMS message will probably
Yeah.
be looked at fairly quickly, and that customer can take action a lot quicker than the person who only gets the email from your brand, right? 2 hours later, that product may be gone again. It's out of stock again. So
Yeah.
that would be, right, an example where they complement each other. Okay to send both messages out there, but it just, in that case, the customer is going to react to one of them faster than the other piece of
Mhm.
communication, right?
Yeah, I would
Okay.
say, generally go for it, send
Hmm.
messages, get your SMS engine running, get your customers used to receiving SMS messages from you.
Okay.
'Cause at the end of the day, they consented to signing up. They want to hear
Right.
from you. The
Sure.
gun was to their head. They want to hear from you. So send the messages, let them be heard, let your brand
Right.
be
Right.
heard.
Okay.
And, you know, tweak it after that. If you get feedback from customers, like,
Hmm.
things
Hmm.
like that, then you can tweak it, but it's a very strong sales channel, so
Okay.
definitely worth testing as much as you can, A/B testing
Okay.
it.
So, in the world of email and SMS, we know
Mhm.
that, really it all gets started. You may have a list already, which is great. And that's, if you're coming into this with an existing list, fantastic. There's a lot we can do with it, right? Um, but if you don't, or you absolutely need, you gotta build a list. You gotta grow, you gotta grow the
Mhm.
email and the SMS list. Talk to me about some strategies that work where
Yeah.
they complement each other, where you need to grab email and you need to also get SMS. Talk about
Yeah.
those strategies.
Yeah, definitely. So SMS and email are only as strong as your traffic. Ultimately,
Mhm.
it's retention marketing. Some people are like, why are my sales not, going through the roof immediately? Because it's not top of the funnel, right?
Yeah.
So get your traffic going. Because of that
Mhm.
principle, traffic is coming to your website. The main
Yeah.
thing is the pop-up, right? Then that's how
Right.
95% of all SMS and email opt-ins, depending if you have some other email strategies
Sure.
that could go down. But that's how people submit. That's how people submit their information.
Mhm.
Sorry, got a little caller. Sorry about that.
No,
So
it's what happens on a
we
live call.
try to make that pop up as strong as possible.
Okay.
Testing it is key.
Okay.
Getting that incremental percentage up from, I see a lot of pop ups hovering around 3 to 5%.
Mhm.
Abysmal. I mean, get that at least to like 8%.
8%.
10%
Okay.
is
Mhm.
is a golden number. Like
Okay.
if you can get it to that, that's fantastic. That means 10% of all people coming to your website are putting their
Mhm.
information in. So
Okay.
um, usually, how we like to do it is if you want to kickstart your SMS program, have
Mhm.
SMS first and then email second.
Okay.
But ultimately, a lot of customers, they want to start with email, and this is fine. So let's just slap on SMS. So let's put an email opt-in,
Mhm.
10% discount, or $10 off, or $5 off. Doesn't matter. Put
Okay.
in their email, continue, and then we're going to
Mhm.
dangle a secondary carrot for an additional 5% off or $5
Okay.
off, upgrade to
Okay.
15% off for giving their SMS.
Mhm.
Works like a charm. You get email going, you got
Mhm.
them a higher discount, they're happier, they feel like they just, upgraded. You
Mhm.
got them on two channels, that's two band-aids they got to rip off. They're going to click
Okay.
something and click on a product, and they'll get an abandoned cart notification on SMS in 2 hours, and then we can set another
Mhm.
one for 2 days, and so on and so forth. But you see that whole process just completely goes away
Mhm.
if you do not have a
Okay.
good, beautiful pop up and you do not have a
Mhm.
good incentive. You know, give
Okay.
people the
And we
reason
call that
to.
essentially two-stepper, a two-step email and SMS capture. Now, what intrigues me about that, I want to follow up on that part of it, is that uh, again, if SMS is new to my brand, and I'm just getting into SMS, but I've been doing email marketing before. Uh, what if I do SMS capture first and my customers are not ready for SMS? Maybe a majority of them. I mean, again, it's very new. Let's, it takes time for these new, marketing channels to, gain traction. I mean, I know you and I know that they work incredibly well. But my question here is, if I start with SMS first and I'm seeing people aren't signing up, would you recommend to flip it then and go with email first and then make SMS
Yeah.
second? Okay.
Yeah, definitely. At the end of the day, every brand is unique. We
Mhm.
have blueprints and frameworks, but they're tweaked constantly, and it depends on the vertical, it depends on your returning customer rate, it depends on how your email is doing, and then
Mhm.
maybe your demographic, for example. Like I've really only seen a couple brands where SMS doesn't really work. One of those was like a hearing aid company. So it turns
Interesting.
out people like maybe 75 and up do not like love to use text messaging.
Okay.
And we
That's
had great
fair.
opt-ins, we had great open rates,
Yeah.
or like, we had great opt-ins, but we didn't have good open rates on the
Right.
campaigns. Like we almost
Well,
like
that
didn't even know
right.
happening. But so just as a rule of thumb, apply these generic principles, but always look at your brand with a little bit of a microscope and say, okay,
Mhm.
like, is this principle actually working for me? Should I tweak it a bit? Should I flip
Right.
this? Like you said,
Okay.
yeah, it's very important to do that, because that's also how you can incrementally boost your
Yeah.
opt-in rates. It's so important. I mean,
Sure.
just a
Okay.
percentage or a couple of points up on that
Okay.
creates like thousands and thousands of more for the year, and that kind
Right.
of doubles, triples,
Okay. That's
exponentially.
interesting. I mean, you gave an example of maybe where a brand or a type of product where SMS maybe just because of the demographic, they may not be there yet, right? Are there any brands that are using only SMS? I mean, we know that email is not dead, but is there anybody like just focused only on SMS
Yeah.
marketing and not email?
Yes. So I have an interesting example. It's a
Yeah.
little bit it's bridging e-commerce, but it's kind of a cop out. But I'll tell you right now, if you
Okay.
walk into Calvin Klein or Ralph
Uh-huh.
Lauren in the
Yeah.
store, so in the store, it'll actually say, text this number to receive
Hmm.
15% off in store. So
Okay.
you're going to get a follow up, and I did,
Mhm.
about a sale that they were having on Calvin Klein online, about Ralph Lauren
Yeah.
online. So they were bridging kind of that experience, but they led
Hmm.
with SMS, which was really interesting. Sure, it
Interesting.
was an in-person experience, but it just shows you like the power. And maybe Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren's demographic is very mobile heavy,
Yeah.
which I'm assuming it is.
Sure.
But definitely 100%. Just there's just a really good example of a
That's a
bigger brand.
that
Yeah,
I mean, that's a great strategy for anybody who's, omni-channel and, has to, he's got brick and mortar happening as well as e-commerce.
yeah,
Get those tent cards set up in your store all over the place and, have that same kind of messaging in there and test it out and see how many people are signing up, right? I mean, well, I know you probably sign up for literally every SMS message that's out there because you're studying the market all the time, but
yeah.
if I like the brand and I'm walking around and I want to get more message, more information from them, and you throw an incentive my way, maybe, why not? And then now I've adopted a new channel that you're trying to push. So I like that. Yeah, I didn't expect that coming. So freebie. So tell me just in terms of, strategy. So I'm now on board with SMS. I've set up my two-step form. I'm capturing email. I'm capturing SMS. What are the strategies? What few strategies do I need to put in next? Do I focus on flows? Do I, put out my content calendar for campaigns? What do I do to just really like ultimately we're looking to skyrocket our sales? What do I do?
Mhm. Yeah. So first and foremost, I know I said this before, but it is extremely important. Test your offers. Try to get those
Mhm.
points and opt-in percentages up as much as possible. It
Okay.
makes everything a world of difference. So
Mhm.
optimize that. If you're not messing with that, it's not a good strategy.
Okay.
So then
Right.
beyond that, beyond the pop-ups and the
Mhm.
different offers and designs you can do to see which one works better, make
Mhm.
sure you also have desktop pop-up as well.
Okay.
Even though that is not as strong, just because desktop is you have to type in your number and then you get a
Mhm.
text to reply Y to confirm. Whereas
Okay.
mobily, it automatically takes you and sends it for you, and you're like opted in like a second's 2 taps. So that's just a little distinction between desktop opt-in and mobile
Mhm.
opt-in. The next strategy would be to set up your welcome flow, make sure that's
Mhm.
good, and test the abandoned cart. So have at least one abandoned cart, but maybe having that second one, send them another message in 2 days is really going
Okay.
to get some more sales. Well, this might seem crazy, but why don't we schedule one for 7 days after and see?
Mm.
I've seen that either work really well or not work well at all. It really depends, but test that abandoned cart drip.
Right.
At least one. So you're
Okay.
married to that, but
Mm-hmm.
see when your customers are, um, how in their sales cycle, how often they're
Mm-hmm.
coming back to the website and things like that. And then
Okay.
finally, now that you have good flow set up, I would
Mm-hmm.
also just, keep your brand top of mind. So set up fulfillment. So when they check out, they get a text and they get notified of their tracking. That actually has the highest click rate out of any of the text messages. Everyone
Okay.
wants to know where their package is.
Right.
It's
That's your
crazy.
post-purchase, right? That's your post-purchase
Yeah.
process, right? Yep.
And they'll click it like 2 to 3
Mm-hmm.
times too. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Like, so you're just staying at the forefront, sometimes leaving them buy
Yeah.
more product from you while
Right.
they're
Right.
waiting for push shipment. But it's just about keeping, marketing is a stack of cards, just trying to get your brand in that front stack as much as possible.
Right.
And then finally, now that you have good flows, now you have a good flow, and then you have
Mm-hmm.
the reminders, as in fulfillment and notifications, the campaigns. So that's like a whole
Mm.
separate strategy. We can kind of dive into that.
Right.
That is, your email blasts. These are your notifications. Do I want to
Sure.
send new product announcements? Do I want to send, something like the first day of fall right there? Let me just send out a message just to kind of send out a
Mm-hmm.
message and to get
Right.
people to like click on me and think about me.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have an amazing period in e-commerce right around the
Mm-hmm.
corner.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk. Let's go into that. Let's drip our Black Friday. Do I want to do a
Right.
Black Friday sale 2 weeks before and kind of like drip the hype even 2 weeks prior to that?
Sure.
So that's depending on your content calendar, which usually if you don't know where to get started, look at your email content calendar.
Okay.
We also have like a pretty awesome Black Friday guide with like
Great.
say this during this period and follow up during this period, and X, Y, and
Yeah.
Z, and it guides you. But there's a lot of strategies, and we can go on and on about campaigns. It's really
Yeah. So really, you get those core flows in place from an SMS standpoint. Mirror potentially some of the ones you have for email marketing. Test, get your campaign schedule in place. Again, you could be mirroring some of the email marketing campaigns that you're doing. You could be doing something a little bit different, from a campaign standpoint on the SMS side of things. So now, all right. So you got me going. I'm an e-commerce brand. I'm all in. I like it. I like everything I hear on SMS, but there are a lot of choices out there in terms of platform. You are from Recart. You're the head of partnerships at Recart, as we mentioned. But just to make sure we talk. There are others out there. What makes Recart different, and why should I jump to use Recart before any of the others?
Definitely. Well, first of all, I'm here at Recart. I'm just kidding.
You're going to get to talk to
So
Nick immediately. He's going to tell you a lot about
yeah,
the Safari too. The Safari. You're going
yeah,
to have to hear about the
exactly.
Safari. So,
You get Safari tips with working for Recart.
oh, you sold. I'm in.
I'm just kidding. So no, there are a lot of SMS platforms out there.
Mhm.
Something like 30 of them. It's
Wow.
crazy.
Is it that many? Oh my God.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
pretty
I know
crazy.
about 10. I didn't realize there were 30. Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot. And it's because it is a very promising space. So,
Hmm.
kudos to the space. Every
Yeah.
single company out there is educating in some way.
Sure.
So I do respect our competitors for that reason. But
Mhm.
when push comes to shove, there are some major differences. So one of the main things is we are messenger marketing. We have that as well. And
Okay.
we're the only company that is truly mobile focused. So
Mm.
some of our other competitors, for example, like Klaviyo, they started with email and kind of added SMS, and they're still email first. 90% of people who use Recart, for example, use Klaviyo. So they're not using their SMS, they're using SMS for us because that's all we focus on.
Right.
Attentive just added email. Some of our other competitors do like reviews as well, and They want to be like, they're all working towards like one-stop shops for messaging. Whereas we are like, we want to be the mobile mecca, if you will. So
Okay.
Messenger, SMS, we're going to add other channels. I think I mentioned earlier, WhatsApp, Instagram, Apple Business Chat. You sign on to one
Nice.
platform, you can send messages for all of them. We have some awesome offers and guarantees and oversight, account oversight as well, that our customers do for our clients, or sorry, our success team does for our clients. And this has allowed us to really take accounts and shine. So what I mean by that is SMS accounts are often set up by like the tech company. So there's no like professional doing it, if that makes sense. It's more like
Right.
just like, I'm just going to set this up and it runs, and then like, here's all of our guides, and have fun.
Right.
So what we like to do is, yeah, here's our guides, have fun, sure. But like, hey, here's some actual suggestions from a human. Here's like some pointers. Here's like this awesome calendar that we want everyone to use and implement, because we have so much data and we know this works. So we want each one of our customers to do well in SMS, because it's funny how many people are out there saying they know how to do SMS right, and
Yeah. Sure.
they'll they just don't. So that's where we kind of like to apply a little bit of like a slight agency kind of oversight, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We're managing these accounts, but we help, and we want to make sure that these accounts do well. It's, if you come in with Recart, you're part of a family, if that makes sense. Whereas
Okay.
you're kind of like another member
Okay.
these other
And
platforms. So.
And Nick, this is always a topic of discussion that comes up, and maybe just briefly tell us how you guys approach it. Compliance. I want to come to SMS and I want to skyrocket my sales. I want to blow this thing out of the water, but I need to be conscious, because I've heard about it, compliance, that I need to be far more compliant in the world of SMS. That I am, and there are a lot of rules that don't apply to the world of email. How do you guys approach compliance, and what's the process there?
Yeah, so we set up a text that goes out. The first text, reply, help for help, stop to stop. We don't even let you edit that. It's ingrained in your flow every time.
Okay.
Can't edit
All
it.
right.
Not deletable.
Okay.
Then we'll add it on your terms of services. So just to be like extra sure, we'll actually update and help you update, like insert this jargon into your terms and conditions on your website. And then that's basically it. And then on the pop-up, we have basically another thing that you can't edit, and you have to have it there. But as long as you have those, and there's like explicit content and ways to opt out,
Right.
this is how you opt out. It works. We also, it's funny, some people want to opt out and they say like shut up or something like that. So we have keywords that like actually opt
Okay.
say
Oh
something
boy.
like that.
Wow.
So
Oh man, I want that list, by the way. Can you share? I mean, I would love to see all those, like, tracking all of those. Take me off of the list, the words that people come up with. I'm sure they're very creative, very creative.
Yeah, it's funny. So it's few and far between, but we just want to be extra sure that if they're requesting an opt out, we're opting.
No, that's good. That's good to know. And you mentioned Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I mean, this is the chance. And again, you find, Nick, you're very passionate about SMS. Obviously, you work for a company that has built a very good platform for SMS. We're very bullish on it because it is rare. It's been a while since a new marketing channel has come along, right? So it's this opportunity to try something very different. And if you've been working off of email, let's bring SMS into the mix, and it's going to complement email, and it's really going to help you position things to skyrocket your sales. I mean, this works. We know there are numbers to prove how well this works. So it's maybe my passionate plea to everybody out there listening: try it, test it. If it's not right for your brand, all right, pull back. You don't have to do it, but I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at what it can do for your brand and what it can do for your sales. So I appreciate you, telling me all that. I want to go back to, I want you to put on your e-commerce nerd cap for a moment. Okay. All right. I'll put mine on too. All right. And I want you to put your entrepreneurial cap and just take me back. Let's go back to NYU. You've been asked to come back to speak to a class at NYU. And this really kind of speaks to where e-commerce is going. What tip would you give today's e-commerce entrepreneur that, really would put their business in a position to succeed? What should they be thinking about? And it doesn't have to be specific to SMS.
Yeah, definitely. So, fundamentally, marketing is, if you're leading some kind of marketing in this digital age, and it is very dizzying. Like, let's be honest, there's so many channels, so many new companies coming out. We can help this, we can help that. And you're like coming in and you're like, okay, well, I just got my fulfillment down and, I just got my product going. Like, okay, how do I tackle this onslaught that is the digital age, which is not going anywhere anytime soon. And it's pretty interesting, just like the scope of humanity. It's, it's only been around for like 20 years, 25 years, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's amazing.
What's going to happen in another 20 years? Like where how many more channels and notifications are we going to have by then? So in lieu of just like the general trend of how the tech and e-commerce industry is going, try and test new channels. Kind of go to what you said earlier.
Okay.
It's your job as you're a CEO and you're an entrepreneur of your e-commerce store, but really you're the biggest thing there, in my opinion, is you're a marketer. You got to learn how to get your brand in amongst the thousands you're getting added every day to the web in front of your customers. Try new channels, try SMS, try new sales, try different approaches that could bring new customers and clients. Because if you're not innovating or thinking or trying new channels, you're just going to be stagnant, and eventually another brand will come, maybe trying to do the same thing with some fresher scents, and they'll eat your lunch long term. So you got to think long term. It's very important to stay relevant. So get on all the channels, do something like what you're doing right now with this amazing podcast. It's on multiple channels at once. You're giving access to everyone to this brand right now, for example. Think like that. Think like Ramin. So it's key. It's very key, because if you don't have that mindset, and it's like, you might have a successful few years, but long term, it's not going to pan out.
No, I love it. And take it from an entrepreneur who's done these things, test, try different things. That's awesome. So Nick, we like to always, we've got a couple minutes left. We like to always end with our rapid fire questions. So you ready for these? You ready to throw some answers at me? What gets you excited to wake up and tackle the day?
Okay, well, a coffee initially, and then I can start thinking. And then I love my girlfriend, and then obviously just like the rush of like talking to people every day and like thinking of new strategies, like sales and partnerships. So I like.
I've always got that. Always got that from you. You're always like that. Yep.
Every deal is a little different and context. So I like that.
Great. You have answered my second question already, because it's coffee. What is it? What's in the coffee? Anything in the coffee?
No, just black? Like a double espresso, black.
Everybody, 98% of the people have said black coffee, basically. That's it. Nobody's putting anything.
I do want to shamelessly promote one of my friends. He has this company called Noon Brew, also on Shopify. It's amazing. It's like this like green tea with like all these superfoods. Really good for like the afternoons, basically. So I'll take that like every other day in the afternoons. Fantastic if you're feeling a little
nice. Well, geez, we'll look that up for sure. So tell me, what's your go-to SaaS software? What do you have on your phone? What app is it that you can't live without?
SaaS software. Well, I really, it's football season, so I got fantasy football.
Okay. All right.
But from a more professional standpoint, like Slack. I also really like Reddit. Reddit is awesome. I mean, I'm in Shopify Reddit. I learn crazy things on there. Reddit steak. I learned how to cook a mean steak just from being 2 months there.
We're coming over.
Seriously. So like, big fan of Reddit. It's
I
awesome.
love it. I love it. If you had one talent that you currently don't have today, what kind of talent would you give yourself?
Oh, probably tennis, to be like a
Oh,
tennis champion. So like I'm decent, but I really just want to get like very,
uh-huh.
very good. I absolutely love it, but
Ooh.
unfortunately, like the shorter build isn't like ideal for for tennis.
Pi- Pickleball, the
Pickleball,
rage,
yeah,
all the
there you
rage
go,
right now. Yes.
there you
All right.
go. Yeah,
So last question for you. Favorite online store?
favorite online store, uncommongoods.com.
Ah, okay.
I like it
Nice.
because it's uncommon. You get some random things in there. Great for like, I don't know what to get this person. They have everything kind of mindset.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, you
Love
can
it.
find
I
something
love it.
there.
That's awesome. Well, we forgot to say at the top, by the way, you're calling in from San Diego. I usually always ask that question, but you're in sunny San Diego,
Yeah,
California. We always like to know where everybody's calling in from. I happen to know you're there.
yeah.
Nick, it has been awesome having you on the show. You're always a wealth of knowledge. You're fun to talk to. You're informative. You smile all the time. You got a good attitude about life. I can tell. And I appreciate you just sharing knowledge about SMS and the e-commerce landscape, which is, growing rapidly. And we need to all get on board. So maybe just take a moment, tell the audience where they can find out about Recart, as well as if you want to tell them about you, where they can find you. Okay.
Yeah, and thank you again, Ramin, and
Yeah,
everyone at you for help hosting me and inviting me here.
absolutely.
What an amazing podcast, and thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you would like to learn more, please reach out to me. You can reach out to me directly. My email is pretty straightforward. It's just Nick Nick at Recart Recart.com.
Beautiful.
And we can talk about SMS, and I can help you a little bit there.
Okay.
And yeah, if you want to find out more, go to recart.com. There is a wealth of information on our
Yes, there
blogs
is.
for Black Friday, for anything you want. I mean,
Mhm.
templates, questions, even our support channel. If you just message them, like you're not even a Recart customer, we'll help
Yep.
you. Like seriously.
Okay.
So yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you very much, Nick. I appreciate you coming on. That is it. We are good with you. You've given us everything you can possibly give us in the world of email SMS. So thank you again for coming on. Gratitude for your time today. And that is going to bring us to the end of another episode of the E-commerce Revolution podcast. Don't forget to check out our past episodes. They're all up on YouTube. You can go to our site, skewagency.com, where you can see them there as well. And remember, this episode will be available on demand. So if you missed anything, check back on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook. And as always, if you need to reach us for anything related to email and SMS marketing, you can reach out to hello, HELLO, at skuagency.com. Mention this podcast, and we'll hook you up with a free SMS and email marketing review of your site for your e-commerce business, which is valued at over $850. And that is all, everybody. Thank you very much.